Hi there, Lynx here, and of course we continue with Katawa Shoujo. Library. We've moved from the cafe to library. So in the end we couldn't get any work done in the cafe. Let's see about this place. The library, while not humming with the activity is noticeably more busy than usual. Exams are not far away, and that's reflected in the number of students burying their noses in the textbooks at the tables around us. I've been studying quite a lot in the past few days, just like them, in hope of doing well in the exams. This also means that Hanako and I have been playing games less, so she's began studying as well just to fill in the time. Nevertheless, I found myself forsaken by her on this particular day. The textbook in front of me has remained on the same page for some time. After so much reading on subjects I couldn't care less about it for the exams, my mind is beginning to wander. I remember not attending my classes before the exams, in high school at least. In university it was not a problem really. Anyway, I find my eyes flicking over to where Hanako would usually be, just like on the days she wasn't in class. Her usual beanbag in the corner of the room is conspicuously unoccupied. It was here that we first really met. I tried to start a conversation with her. She got skittish and eventually bolted from the room altogether. I probably shouldn't smile about it, but it was kind of amusing inside. Nowadays it's more and more difficult to imagine her doing such a thing. Even with Lily gone, she's been doing well now that she's come out of her room. I want to talk with her, or at least play another game of chess. I'm tired of studying, and it's been a few days since we've really done anything all together. Now that I think about it, in high school, when I was actually studying for the exams at home, I would literally actually force myself to get up early to study from the morning. Because later in the day I would not be able to concentrate. Like, my family was too noisy once they were back from work. Anyway, the question of where to find Hanako's isn't particularly difficult one. If she's not in the library, chances are that she's either in the tea room for some peace and quiet, or in her dormitory room. Deciding to check them in that order, I pack up my books and make my way off to the library. I stretch and give a loud groan as I walk down the hallway. Studying might be frustrating at times, but with the progress I feel I've made, there is also some sort of pride in getting it done. It's a good feeling. There isn't a sound to be heard from inside as I stand in front of the door to Hanako's room. I guess that isn't very indicative whether she's inside or not, given how quiet she usually is. Still, she wasn't in the tea room. I try knocking lightly to make my presence known, but I'm surprised when I find the door unlocked and yielding at my touch. With a small creak, the door opens. And it looks like my suspicions were correct. Hanako is indeed here. She's sitting at the table with an open book in front of her, but pays it no heed as she keeps looking out the window. She looks utterly oblivious to my presence. With her head thoughtfully resting on her hand, she looks calm and collected. It's a shame she can't look like this more often. Smiling until I wake up to the table and softly speak to her. Good evening, Hanako. Hanako's head turns a little to see me, but she's still only half there. I put a hand on the table and lower my head to better look at her face, mildly curious about what mood she's in. What's up? She gasps a little, finally acknowledging my presence in the room for the first time. Hanako's blushing really heavily. Her mouth is open just a little as she paused mid-sentence. Most striking is what she's doing. She's looking directly at me. Her eyes are pinned on my own, from such a close distance that I can almost see my reflection in them. Are we zooming in, or is it just me? They don't turn away, nor move at all. They're absolutely still, just looking into mine. They're dark, and give her an almost analytical air. Even when reading on subjects she has no interest in, she would appear to be wrapped in her work to a casual observer. She absorbs information very well, and even now I can feel that. I feel like I'm seeing something behind those eyes that I never saw before. I don't know what it is for. Hanako? Her lips move just a little, silently mouthing something. She looks like she's on the verge of saying something but won't say it. But that's the way Hanako always is. On the verge of saying something but never quite doing it. As I look intently in her eyes, I realize something. Everyone has their own thoughts. Things they want to say, their own worldview. But I can't work out what Hanako wants to say, and I can't work out what she's thinking. I never have been able to. It's frustrating. It feels like I don't know her at all, despite all the time we spent together. Hisao. It's only now that I find myself blushing. I've been looking darkly into Hanako's eyes from such a short distance with absolutely no regard for her, and she's been looking into mine without shirking away. I quickly look away while covering my face with my hand. Hanako does just the same. Another awkward silence reigns. I hate this. At first I accepted them as just being a fact of life around Hanako, but now all they feel like is an affirmation of how little we're able to communicate. Some anger makes its way in the complex mixture of emotions I'm experiencing right now. I want to bridge that gap between us. Friends shouldn't have to tiptoe around each other like this. I speak before I can argue myself out of what I'm going to do. My scarring isn't as bad as Hanako's, and I can't possibly compare my life to hers, but I want to show her that she's not alone. Doing this in such a blunt manner might be the only way to get my point across. Hanako, I want to show you something. I take a deep breath to prepare myself. This could backfire badly, but I feel as if we've come close enough for this to be okay. I'm not going to strip naked or anything, okay? I'm just going to take off my shirt, which is half strippy. Hanako's eyes grow the size of saucers. Her face is an amusing mixture of curiosity and nervousness. As she stands, it helps me take the edge of my own nervousness at doing this in front of another person. Slowly, with my entire body feeling tense, I knot my tie, being to lose the first of the buttons. Should I? No. I'm not doing it. I'm trying to mentally block out Hanako to make this easier, but it's not really working. As I work my way down, I expect to hear some form of protest from her. She remains silent though, which just makes this feel even stranger. With the last of my shirt unbuttoned, I take a brief and look at her. Hanako's gaze is fixed on my scarring, as expected, and once I nod to say it's okay, she steps forward and tentatively places her hand on the vertical line running down my chest. It's not that bad looking. The scarring on her hand, a pattern of damaged skin across its surface, contrasts with the single uniform line that makes up mine. Her hand isn't trembling at all, unlike what I predicted. This is the scare from the surgery that followed my heart attack. The surgeons had to cut open my chest to operate on the heart. I never knew. Hanako's words are calmer and softer than usual. The soft feeling of her fingers moving from my scar to my breast makes me hesitate a little before continuing on. You're the first person to see this since I left the hospital. But why are you showing this to me? I wanted to prove myself that I could do this. That I could accept my past and move on. I wanted to show that to you as well. She nods. From her reaction, she seems to know how difficult this is for me. More than anything, this scar represents a visible reminder of my condition. A reminder that I'm not normal anymore. That's something that until now I had tried my hardest to ignore. As the minutes tick by, Hanako's gaze lingers. Her eyes look less focused on my scarring than before. The situation feels a bit different than it previously did and makes me feel slightly uncomfortable. Her hand reaches and I roll my shirt closed and begin to button it up. Her blushing face suddenly returns to its typical tense and timid state as she looks away. The room is completely silent as I fix my shirt and tie. feeling put off after such an unexpectedly intimate moment. So, I guess you're... I can't believe he said that. I guess you're not the only one that's scared. Hanako smiles a little at the joke, thankfully lightening the atmosphere a bit.
Thank you, Hisao. I think I understand.
I give a long sigh of relief. I really didn't know how she'd take it, but I'm glad everything seems to have worked out as I hoped. Hanako's smile only proves that further. I'm finding the path I want to follow now. And what Hanako needs to do is to find her own. It's something I can help her with, and it's something that she needs to overcome her past in order to do. Hanako checks her watch. It's getting late by now.
Hisao,
Yeah, I'd better be going. I'll be thankful for some sleep. It's been a long day after all. Good night, Hanako.
Good night.
I make my way out of her room and into the hallway, remaining silent as I do so. I think both of us have gone through a few emotions today. But I'm proud of him. I'm so proud of him. The heat of the summertime sun beats down my sweating brow. Dabbing with a handkerchief doesn't get too much in making me any more comfortable. Giving up on the idea of getting more done today, I stop and lean against one of the overpass fences, resting my back on the ground. The stores in the town below Yamaku are well stocked and offer enough variety of meat to get by, but at least an occasional shopping trip to the city is something that can't really be avoided. I've been here a few times now. The city's layout is getting more familiar, and the nostalgia from its atmosphere is beginning to wear off. I realize that I've begun to wheeze. I sound like an old man that's overexerted himself, and having connect that to the fact that I'm the source a bit disturbing. I put a hand on my chest and concentrate for a bit to make sure I haven't gone far enough to cause any further problems. Thankfully, my heart is acting normally. There is no dull pain, and the beating is regular, albeit fast-paced, as I recover from overdoing things in this kind of heat. I hate my body. It's frustrating to be held back, even more to be held back by fear of my life being ended when doing something as simple as walking around the city for a while. Found. I ponder on my health. I feel my pocket vibrating. By the time my phone began to ring, my hand is already fishing for it. I glance at the screen that shows a caller number I don't recognize. Strange. Shrugging, I press the button to answer the call and bring the phone to my ear. Hello, Hisao Nakai speaking. The sound of a couple of short briefs can be heard, but no actual speech is forthcoming. Hello?
Hisao?
It's Hanako. Her voice is really easy to place, even if I've never heard it over a phone before. Hanako. Oh, sorry I wasn't expecting you to call. What's up?
If you're not busy, I was wondering if she would like to
Meet up?
Yes, I mean...
She sounds really wound up about this. I can hear muffled voices in the background, and it's about time for afternoon tea, so I guess she'll want me to meet her at the Shanghai or something. That sounds fine. Are you at Shanghai?
I'm in the city.
Hanako is here? Alone? That's a surprise. It's no wonder she's like this if she's surrounded by people then entirely by herself. That all works out well. I'm just wandering around the town now. Where are you? Hanako managed to stammer out the street name, address, and some basic directions to where she is. Luckily, it's not too far, so I agreed to see her soon before hanging up. I look up to the sky. The summer heat is beating down. Wait, are we after the exams as well? Do we get a time skip in this route? What? This is the first time Hanako's asked for us to do something together beyond a simple board game, and the first time at least since I've known her that she's come to the city by herself. Maybe this means that Lily was right.
Yeah?
By the time I managed to stagger up to the cafe where Hanako is, I've started to wheeze again. I'm sweating so much that I feel like a melting popsicle and can barely hold the buck in my hand. I just sit down badly. The tables outside are all occupied by busily chatting couples and girls gossiping between themselves. Maybe that's good. We can go inside, hope there is AC. The contrast between the different age groups and fashions of the people here and the people from the town near Yamaku is striking. I scan over the people sitting at tables, but I can't see Hanako. She did say she was sitting outside, so I must just be missing her. Not difficult given how small she usually tries to make her presence. I mean, that's kind of correct. I look around again, more slowly this time, taking particular care to see if I can find Hanako's hat. It's pretty distinctive, and I'd be very surprised if she wasn't wearing it. Where is she? Don't mind that sound. I don't know, I triggered the video by mistake of my own in the folder, but I need to quickly browse. Okay, it's fine. Boom. There she is! Sure enough, her head is kept low on the table she's sitting at is right beside the building in an inconspicuous corner. I walk up to where she is and make sure that I have her attention before I sit, lest I give her a scare. She nods me and gives me a small wave as I arrive at the table.
Are you feeling okay?
I try my best to laugh it off, but doing so just makes me more out of breath. Not very fit these days, don't mind me. Hanako nods, but still looks a bit put off. Now that I can get a good look at her face, something about her seems a bit different. I'm not sure if my eyes are playing tricks on me, but she looks kind of nice. Dude, she always has been looking nice. Her eyes move upwards to look at me before quickly flicking down again. I begin to think this is going to be a rather quiet meeting, but a waitress thankfully arrives and sets down a cup of tea in front of Hanako. Hanako almost automatically turns slightly away and lowers the side of her head. It's an amazingly practiced motion and does a good job of its intended purpose, hiding her scars from someone who's leaning close. Her right arm is still laying on the table though, it is carrying on the back of her hand quite visible if catches the waitress's eye, and I move to quickly distract her. Excuse me, may I place an order? The waitress nods and gives me a couple of seconds to look at the menu. Could I have a mango smoothie, please? She gives a nod before almost enthusiastically bouncing inside. Everything is so different in the city in more ways than one. Knowing my luck, they wouldn't have mango smoothie ingredients anymore. Hanako looks back up towards me and adjusts her hat also. If she noticed the waiter staring at her scars, she doesn't show it.
Not coffee?
No. I think I'd die from this heat if I had something like coffee right now. Don't joke about death over there now. Resting my head in my hand, I look to my quiet companion. She seems taken back. A very unexpected reaction to my lame joke. Yeah, it was lame. An unwelcome motion bubbles up beside me as I realize her reason why. Unlike most in Yamaku. Indeed. Unlike anyone there that I'm aware of, my condition goes beyond limiting the activities I can do. I mean, technically, Reina knows. Or to be more precise, breaching those limits could have much more grave consequences. Thankfully, it's something that's very rarely come up since I entered Yamaku. I thought that it was so rare that Hanako and Lee might not think of it at all. It turns out that I was wrong. Hanako silently drinks her tea while I wait for my drink, confirming that it's the right temperature of a small sip before she begins in earnest. I feel guilty for being the cause of an uncomfortable silence, since in the past I've been kind of hard on Hanako for those. Eventually the same waitress as before bounces up, handing me my drink. I gather change from a pocket and drop it into her waiting hand before she goes off to attend to another customer. My eyes linger on her as she walks away.
Do you think that she looks pretty?
Hanako is following my gaze, her eyes taking the waiter's that served us. I can feel my blood slowly going to my cheek as I rest my spoofy back on the table. Yeah, can't really say that I'm really into that look. Just look a lot like an old friend I knew before my heart attack.
Did you have many friends?
I had a few at my previous school, so I wouldn't say a lot. The four of us just hang around together after school and stuff.
Do you still talk to them?
I shake my head. Nope. We gradually lost contact while I was stuck in the hospital.
You're not saddened by that? Or angry?
Hanako looks genuinely surprised. I guess it's the right reaction. Well, life did move on for them while I was stuck in the ward. I was pretty sure about it at the time, but now it's just a bunch of nice memories. Besides, once I came to Yamaku, I found new friends as well. That's quite a whitewash of what my feelings were back then. I went through some dark times during my stay at the hospital, and I really am glad that Hanako and Lee were around to help me after I left it. Hanako blushes as we both get down to enjoy our drinks. She seems to have calmed down since I arrived, and I've started to feel a little better now that I've had a chance to rest a bit, so this is getting to be a nice outing already. Even if she's calmer than before, for she's still fidgeting a bit, she runs her hand down her bunk, on one of her bunks, as I try to think of something to say. That's right, I was going to ask. Hanako tilts her head quizzically. I know you had a mobile phone. How'd you get my number?
Lily gave it to me.
I should have guessed. You know, you could have just asked. I'd have given it to you. What, to exchange email addresses? Hanako nods, setting down her drink and fishing out her phone from her pocket as I do the same. Yeah, back in the day people used to exchange email addresses, right? Now it doesn't happen. It's surprisingly the same model as mine, pink phone. Nice phone. She looks to me with a curious expression before answering my phone and giggling. It's one of the very few times I've seen Hanako let her guard down enough to do such a thing.
Yes. I didn't pick it up myself.
Oh?
It was a present from Lily.
Oh?
I never really needed a phone, and I couldn't afford one. She bought me one for Christmas, for saying that we could use it to keep in touch.
They see each other basically every day anyway, both in and out of school. Then again, Lee does have her class representative duties and other friends that she talks with. It would probably help for a situation like this too, when she's gone away for a while. Lee's a very special person to you, isn't she?
She is. I love her very much.
Hanako looks down and smiles as she thinks of her. None of my friendships were as deep as theirs, and I have to admit to myself that I'm a little jealous of their relationship. We tell each other our email addresses and down them to our respective phones, and I get Hanako's number from earlier and put it in my contacts list. Well, man, Hisao, if you paid attention, you could have such a close friend in Kenji!
Done! That makes 3 now.
The third one being Akira? 3.
Lily, Akira, and you.
Akira. She's an interesting person, isn't she?
She's also really nice, for her suit makes her look a bit cool.
I was surprised you know each other well. What if her job taking up so much of her time? Hanako looks down a little and takes another sip of her drink. If I wasn't looking intently at her face, I'd miss the small smile perched on it. I guess when she knows so few people, those she knows must mean a lot to her.
How many do you have?
Me. About 9 or 10. I don't know. Let's have a look. I probably could check it in a fast way, but whatever. Okay, this is the car place. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Fuck. Okay, I would say I have over 100 numbers, more or less, of which I use maybe like 1, 2, maybe like 3 or 4 Anyway, because I don't delete the numbers, even the old ones, you know. So, then again, it doesn't matter. I hesitate to go into them for fear of rubbing the fact that Hanako doesn't have parents or apparently even close relatives. Two of those are Shizune and Misha too, which is another can of worms. I imagine that you would have more than both of us put together, probably. Hanako gives a childish giggle and I can't help smiling. It's a good feeling that she's gotten this comfortable around me. At times like this, I feel like I'm getting close to talking to her true self. Do you mind if I ask something that I've been wondering? Hanako shakes her head as she takes the last sip of her tea, finishing it off. You don't seem very jealous for having lots of friends. Don't you want to make some more friends yourself, or, you know, get to know some of hers?
I'm not jealous. I don't like people, so I don't mind not having many friends.
Yeah. I mean, you know, to be fair, having many friends doesn't matter. It's cool if you have some close ones. That's good enough, to be fair. That's my approach, at least. That's really not the answer that I was expecting. She don't look fearful or sad as she says this, but rather quite serious.
Hi.
Hanako wraps her arm awkwardly, having taken my quietness as a reason to continue. I'm not really sure what I should say, so I end up simply giving her my attention in silence.
In middle school, I got bullied a lot.
Names. Hanako, give me the names.
I was called names and got excluded from war groups and sports teams. There were worse things too.
No, who was it? Who was it? The names of those people, please. Guys, we are going to bully those bastards like crazy. How dare they do something like that to Hanako? And that's what made you not like other people? She shakes her head.
That was elementary school.
I feel bad for bringing this up now. Adults have enough problems dealing with Hanako scaring. Children would be all the worse. I had assumed that the way she tried to make her presence not felt was just to avoid people staring at her, or because she was afraid of them. Certainly not because she genuinely didn't want to interact with them in the first place as well. Unless the condensation from my neglected smoothie forming a little puddle around the bottom of the cup, so I take the opportunity to finish it off. As the drink she begins to fiddle with her phone, it looks like she's remembered the people around her again and began to tense up. It isn't exactly a cheap phone. I had to save up for quite a while to afford one when I got mine. If we went to a private school, she probably wouldn't have too much trouble getting one for a present phone. Watching her fiddle with it gives me an idea. Hey Hanako, wait for me. I'll be right back. I put the now empty cup down, slip my phone in the back pocket and begin to move off. Carefully stepping around the bag I've placed beside my feet. Thankfully sitting around while talking to Hanako has helped me feel a little better than before.
Wait, what? Where are you going?
Just stay here. I'll be back in a bit. What did he do? As much as I'd have liked to have joked back, I know full well that I couldn't. I ended up walking back to the cafe, a little blue bag in my right hand. What did he do? Hanako noticed me quickly, looking about as confused as she did when I left. I deposited the diminutive bag in front of her and sit back.
Is this?
It's for you. You can open it.
But...
Go on. She looks very unsure about it, but eventually gives in, slowly opens the bag and picks its contents out. Oh, a strap. Okay. A silver chain phone strap dangles from her fingers, and it ending in a delicate flower. It isn't exactly a masterwork of jewelry, but it's about as much as I could afford. Hanako's eyes light up when she looks at it. It's the kind of reaction I was hoping for. The summer sun's light glints of the silver as it twists to and fro a little. It's not too ostentatious, but it still looks a little charming. I think it suits her well. Now that I think about it, I've never actually had a strap on my phone. Never. I mean, I do have some keychains when it comes to keys, but yeah. Hanako lowers the phone strap to the table and looks to me once more.
But it's not Christmas or my birthday.
It's fine, don't worry about it. I just thought it might be nice to have something to decorate your phone with.
I don't have anything to give to you.
I told you it's fine. Friends can give things to each other like this sometimes, right?
Friends.
Hanako lowers her face so much I can't see her expression. She eventually nods, before taking her phone and fiddling with the strap to attach it properly. She looks tubby and smiles as she holds up her phone, now adorned with a little flower.
Thank you, Hisao.
Her smile proves infectious. Out the corner of my eye, I notice a couple getting up and leaving. That reminds me that the bus back to the town below Yamaku will be coming soon. I guess I'd better be going if I want to catch the next bus to town. You coming as well?
Yes.
She hastily nods before carefully putting her phone back into her pocket and getting out of the chair. I do the same, pick up the bag I'd left beside me on the way out. We walk side by side as we make our way to the bus station, exchanging the words between us. Hanako's gaze is firmly locked ahead of her, for she looks very happy with herself. I'm not sure what I should say to her, but I'm also not sure that I need to say anything. The fact that Hanako is happy and happy because of me is enough to make the load on my arm feel light as a feather. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let us end the episode. We'll of course continue tomorrow. For now, hope you enjoyed. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see in the next one how it continues, how the story unfolds and so on. Bye bye.